Hello and welcome back to the Academy of the Magical Art. My name is Frater Ophiel, and today we are going to be discussing numerology and the numbers 1 through 9. The fact that you're listening to this video tells me that you would like to learn a little bit more about numbers and their vibrations and how you can use them to enhance your life. If you have not listened to the first video on numerology, the introduction, please go back and do so now. It is not long and will not take much of your time up, but is the foundation for what we will be covering here. The number 1 is representative of soul, or the sun. This is the source number. This number represents being, ego, leadership, personal resources, and personal identity. Ones primarily deal with strong will, positivity, pure energy. The number 1 will reflect new beginnings and purity. It is the source number and represents the male principle. Ones are indicative of the strength of a person's self-awareness and awareness of their identity. They also symbolize a person's resourcefulness and their ability to use these resources. A high frequency of ones will symbolize resource availability but does not necessarily indicate their use. The symbolic meaning of number 1 is further clarified when we understand what 1 represents. This is both kinds of action, physical and mental. This combined with one's urgency for new beginnings, we can begin to see ones recurring in our lives, indicating a time to exert our natural forces, take action, and start new ventures. Ones encourage us, our action will be rewarded in kind. Things to look for with ones. An absence of ones in a person's name indicate the ego playing a strong role in a person's conscious awareness of their identity. It will show extreme cases of ego-related problems ranging from somebody to being a super egoist to a martyr. Positive traits of ones are that they are an indicator of a pioneering spirit, intensive ideas, strong leadership skills, independence, somebody who drives to attain much. Individualistic style, executive ability, extraordinary will and determination, and courage. Some negative traits are that they can be overly assertive and aggressive, domineering, impulsive, egotistic, boastful, and willful. 2s are representative of Luna. If you look at the Vesica Pisces, the shape that is made when 2 circles come and join and make 1, we gain a deeper understanding of what 2 represents. 2s are duality. They are feelings and caring, ether or imbalance, unconscious mind. The symbolic meaning of number 2 is kindness, balance, tact, equilation, and duality. The number 2 reflects a quiet power of judgment and the need for planning. 2 beckons us to choose. 2s are representative of the female principle of the moon, and is represented by the Vesica Pisces, as I said. 2s represent the question of to be or not to be. With 2, we see a lot of concerns, feelings, curing emotions in the conscious mind, rather than the intellect presented by the masculine 1. 2 is an active number, so those with many 2s are rarely at rest. The spiritual meaning of number 2 also deals with exchanges made with others, partnerships, both in harmony and rivalry, and communication. 2 urges us out of our indecision and calls us to unite with like minds and like ideas. 2 asks us to assert our natural flow of judgment and to do what is best for our souls. Things that you want to look for with 2s are that many 2s will indicate a person who is capable of much feeling and are very sympathetic. They tend to protect themselves from the uncertainties of life. The presence of 2 is essential if the presence of 1 is to be activated. This is the sun-moon duality. In order for the moon, or the 2, to shine, the sun must be giving its rays of light to the moon in order to activate that. The absence of the 2 indicates difficulty in evaluating one's self-worth. Lacking 2s are especially hard for women because women by nature are more emotional and men by nature are more intellectual. Many 2s for a man will indicate a more feminine nature. Positive traits of the 2 are cooperation and adaptability, consideration of others, sensitive to the needs of others, partnering, meditation, arbitration, modesty, sincerity, spirituality, influence, and a diplomatic nature. Negative traits would include shyness, timidity, fear, self-consciousness, and drowning in detail or depression. Threes are the number of Jupiter. These represent personal creativity, action, forcefulness, initiative, and service. The number 3 invokes expression and versatility, pure joy of creativity. This number is symbolic of the sacred alchemical marriage, the joining of the male and female, the sun and the moon, and then its product. 1 plus 2 equals 3. This is a sacred harmonic of achieving balance. 3 is also a time identifier as it represents the past, the present, and the future. This is also a number of completion, the sacred Godhead, the tri-goddess. The consecutive 3s in your life may symbolize the need to express yourself. Consecutive 3s in your life may symbolize the need to express yourself creatively or to consider your present directional path in relation to past events and future goals. 3s may also represent promising new adventures and assurances of cooperation from others whom you may require help. 3 typically symbolizes reward and success in most undertakings. The spiritual meaning of this number deals with magic and intuition. Things to watch for with the 3 are that many 3s indicate much action and creativity. They can be difficult to harmonize and express, leading to outbursts of tears or anger, or destructive and cathartic natures. Lack of 3s do not indicate lack of action, but rather a lack of awareness of action. This can also symbolize the father, mother, child, and the body, mind, and spirit. Positive traits of the 3 are self-expression and verbalization, inspiration, keen imagination, artistic talents, acute and accurate impressions and insights, and never-ending optimism. Some negative traits of the 3 would include scattered energies, exaggeration, unfinished products, ADHD-like tendencies, lack of direction, and moodiness or self-centeredness. The number 4 is the number of Mars, the square. This represents logical thought, practicality, instincts, the concrete material world. The symbolic meaning of 4 deals with stability and invokes the grounding nature of all things. This is the direction of 1 combined with the action of 3. Consider the 4 seasons, the 4 directions, the 4 elements, all of these amazingly powerful essences wrapped up in a nice square package of 4. 4 represents solidity, calmness, and home. A recurrence of 4 in your life may signify the need to get back at your roots, to center yourself, or even plant yourself. 4s also indicate a need for persistence and endurance. Things to watch for with the 4 are that many 4s can indicate practicality, intellectual energy, and thinking. The operation of this process is dependent upon 4's relationship to the other numbers. Too much 4s, or logic, can lead to a starved heart. 4 is opposed to the theoretical. Too many can inhibit the imagination. Some positive traits of the 4 are the strong sense of order and value, struggle against limits, steady growth, high practical scientific method, attention to detail, foundation for achievement, a genius for organization, and fine management skills. Some negative traits would include a lack of imagination, being caught up in detail, stubborn, fixed opinions, being argumentative, slow to act, too serious, or confused. 5s. 5s are the number of Mercury. The number 5 is very commonly seen in the shape of the star, which we're all familiar with. 5s represent the senses, expansion, flexibility, tolerance, and learning. The number 5 reminds us of what it is to be human. It is the midpoint of our number sequence and represents the individual self, 1, entering into the material world, 4. 5s carry instability and unpredictability and radical change. 5 has wild vibrations, primitive and erratic. When 5 continues to pop up in your life, be prepared for some action, like a trip. Remember, trips aren't all necessarily taken physically. Some of the best journeys are taken in the mind and the spirit, or the astral, if you're one who's a fan of astral travel, which is something that we'll be discussing in a video to come. The spiritual meaning of the number 5 deals with travel, adventure, and motivation. With the heights that come with these attributes, the spiritual meaning of 5 also draws our attention to the wonder of life and beckons us to appreciate the perception of chaos all around us. Things to watch for with the 5. People learning to develop quickly through their senses with the number 5. The choices posed to those with many 5s is whether to realize that they are divine creators or to live as if they've only lived once. Positive traits of the 5s indicate expansiveness, new and visionary ideas, quick thinking, versatile and ever-changing action, oriented cautiousness and exploring, promoting resourcefulness, and using freedom constructively. Negative traits include restlessness, discontent, edgy, temperament, speech, dissatisfaction, too many hasty decisions, impatient, lacking application. Many 5s in a person's life can also indicate struggles with things like substance abuse. These people are very driven off of their senses and oftentimes will seek to satiate these senses with the use of something external: sex, drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, physical, tangible pleasures that please the body, but very oftentimes will do damage to the mind and to the spirit when taken in excess. All things are good in moderation. The number 6 is the number of Venus. Venus is intellectual creativity, imagination, fantasy, abstract thinking, and theory. It is represented by the 6-pointed star, or oftentimes called the Star of David. This is the joining of the masculine principle and the feminine principle. The symbolism behind the number 6 is legendary. When we see the personally creative force of 3 brought to a whole new level, and we see feelings, 2, joined with the mind, 4, we are brought to some of the highest aspects of the divine. With Venus as its ruler, 6 represents harmony, balance, sincerity, love, and truth. 6 naturally reveals solutions for us in a calm, unfolding manner. We invoke the 6 when we need delicate diplomacy and when dealing with sensitive matters. The spiritual meaning of the number 6 also deals with enlightenment, specifically lighting our path in areas we require spiritual and mental balance. 6s beckon us to administer compassion and consciously choose forgiveness in a situation. The 6 is another reminder of the harmony achieved when properly joined in the sacred feminine and the masculine forces. Things to watch for with the 6 are that many 6s can indicate the intellect creating a highly imaginative level. Both health, beauty, love, harmony, peace, and sympathy, chance and luck. Many 6s can also indicate genius, originality of intellect, abstract thought, an air of unworldliness. 6s will have a hard time coping with the number 4 and the number 7. A good balance of 6 will promote clairvoyance, healing, and penetrating insight. Too much 6s, however, can cause problems in relationships with others and the self, tendency to overrate the love given and underrate the love received. Positive traits of the 6 would indicate a strong sense of responsibility, artistic, nurturing nature, a community-oriented disposition, with a balanced sympathy for others. Humanitarianism, unselfishness, love of home and domestic affairs, freely render service to others. Some negative traits of the 6 would indicate self-righteousness, stubbornness, dominating family and friends, meddling, egotistical, and susceptible flattery. The number 7 is the number of Neptune. The number 7 will represent setting limits, time, material attachment, the bridge of the spiritual and the physical realm. 7s, like the 3s, deal with magical forces. It is one of the most difficult numbers to interpret. However, one of the most rewarding to integrate into a name. 7s deal with esoteric and scholarly aspects of magic, representing scholarly activity, mastery, and the focused search for esoteric meanings. Sevens deal with the activation of imagination and manifesting results in our lives through the use of conscious thought and awareness. Ruled by Neptune, 7 can represent the impractical dreaming, but with a deeper understanding of the aspects of 7. You can quite deftly utilize this magical vibration to your own benefit. 7 is a constant reminder of the limits of the physical world and is closely related to time, 7 days in a week. Things to watch for with 7s are, although they are a bridge to the spiritual world, this can indicate a good bridge or a bad bridge depending on how the person standing on the other side is prepared and presently standing. Dominant 7s indicate a hyper-awareness of limits, and many people have a hard time handling the 7 energy because of its restrictions that come with the rewards. Some positive traits would be skilled at analytics and research, an intelligent seeker of knowledge, scientific and inventive, studious, meditating, charming, personality and demeanor, love of solitude and peace, and a perfectionist. Negative traits would indicate hidden motives and suspicions, overly reserved, arguments enjoyed with the silence or sarcasm. Isolated and flexible positions, overly upset by distractions. 8s are the number of Saturn. 8 is represented by the octahedron or the octagon, the stop sign, if you will. This indicates the unconscious mind, the transformation of the material, timeless space, balance, and this is the number of Dharma. There is a difference between Dharma and Karma, which we will likely cover in a video to come. The symbolism backing the number 8 deals largely with business, success, and wealth. This is due to the fact that the 8 represents continuation, repetition, and cycles. Such elements are seen in areas where success is obtained simply because of dogged determination and repetition. Also, matters of business and wealth largely depend on cycles to fulfill their manifestation. It's like the snowball analogy. As it continues to roll, it gets bigger and bigger with each revolution. 8 represents that kind of momentum. Things to watch for with the 8. 8s are a number of fate and cycles, transformation, timeless space, and dharmic lessons. Unconscious urges become bound up here, and many 8s can indicate many tests and trials in a person's life. Some positive traits with the 8 are they are expectative character and ability, political skills, expert handling of power and authority, and working for a cause, achieving recognition, exercising sound judgment, decisive, and commanding. Some negative traits would indicate that a person could be a workaholic or overly ambitious, lacking humanitarian instincts, and mismanaging money, repressing subordinates, and being impatient with people, stressed and materialistic natures. The number 9 is the number of Uranus. 9s are spiritual creativity and divine love, innate talents, and completion. This is karma. This is the spiritual meaning of number 9 brings us to the very height of vibrational frequencies in the number sequences. 9s represent attainment and satisfaction, accomplishment, and our success to achieve and influence in our circumstances. The spiritual meaning of the number 9 details with intellectual power, inventiveness, influence over situations and things. 9 beseeches us to recognize our own internal attributes and extend these abilities out into the world to make a positive, influential difference. Some things to watch for with the 9 would be an absence of 9 can cause feelings of disorientation early in life or feelings of being unwanted. This is the anti-ego number, so only through examination of the law of karma can this really be understood. 9 domination shows compassion, understanding, and selfless love, and looks forward and reminds us that we are the sum of our previous lifetimes. This number can tune us into joy and happiness. However, when that 9 is not there, as I said, it can leave a feeling of emptiness. Some positive traits of the 9 would be heartily filled and congenial, a hail fellow or a humanitarian instinct, giving good nature, selfless, obligation, creative expression, readily influenced to do good works, and artistic writing talents. Negative traits would be self-adulation, scattered interests. Positives, moodiness, carelessness with finances, and wanting pure attention. That will wrap it up for our numbers 1 through 9. And I think I'm going to conclude this video here and finish the karmic debt numbers in the video to come. Thank you for joining with me today, and I hope this was educational and helpful for your magical journey. Blessed be.